Shalom ha. Shalom aloha. I've got my setup ready to do the final quarter activation reading. And let's just see, where are we at in the wheel right now? Where are we at within the wheel? We are, first of all, in the final quarter stage of this moon cycle, this monthly cycle, which means that we're in that really awesome, exciting in-between stage. This week is all about integrating everything that we learned this cycle, but really just sealing it up. It's the very last part of that integration. And it's also stepping into the new, because we're 1 week away from the new moon. So we're preparing for the new by sealing the old. The final quarter might be my favorite time in the cycle, if I could even say that. It's hard for an Aquarius to claim anything as a favorite. But it's because it's the in-between of the in-between. It's the first sign of hope of the new. It's like, okay, we're finally almost out of this one. And yes, we will be on to another one, but we're almost out of this one, you know? And this last one, has been really intense. This has been Scorpio season, so this in-between is about moving from Scorpio to Sagittarius. And I think it's really funny and appropriate that I have this right behind me over there. That's really random, but yeah, that is the Archer right there. So that's a pretty funny and perfect omen. That's just sitting right behind me over there. So we are going to seal up this Scorpio theme, which has all been about going to the depths, really sinking into our emotions and, you know, whatever we consider to be our darkness, those things that we keep more hidden. You know, you can judge it however you want to judge it, but ultimately what those things are just more hidden, more in the shadows than other things, in comparison to other things. So we went to those depths. That's what this month has been all about. Whether we wanted to or not, we went there. None of us are separate from this great wheel, this cycle, the seasons. We all go through it. We all are it, individually and together as one. Okay, so we went to those depths, and now whew, we're finally ready for some relief. We've built up all of this emotion, this pressure, and you can see each pain and each challenge that we experienced in this cycle, you can see as a little more of the drawing back of the bow. You know, we've been drawing and drawing and drawing, building that momentum, and we're about to fling forward. We're about to spring forward. We're about to move into a whole different stage. And it's all going to be determined by what we do here and now with this information that we've gathered during the Scorpio season. So that trajectory is all depending upon what we do right now with what we've learned. So that is why I am here with these cards, so that we can ask some questions and get some answers. They're already inside of us, so here we are about to pull them out. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and create a space for the answers to come in. The best way to create that space is to consider that space that's outside of time. That place outside of time and space, inside your heart, where we meet as one. And when you're there, that's how you'll know you're open and ready to receive. So if we all meet there together, then we create the biggest space for the most truth and the most light to enter. And when you're there, go ahead and connect to the deck however you like. Just a quick little whatever you need to do. Use your imagination. It's up to you. You can see a thread of light, rainbow light, golden light, purple light, whatever you want to do. See that light coming from your third eye to the deck, or your heart to the deck, or just simply feel your consciousness connecting with the deck, or whatever you want to do. Just takes a second. And now we're all here in this place outside of time and space, together as one, connected to the deck being the faces of the one, which are inside each one of us. So it's not even really about these cards, you know, these things I'm holding in my hand. It's about the energies at the foundation of all of life that unites us. And so here we are, and we're acknowledging those energies, and we're giving thanks in advance for their wisdom, and for the map that it's going to provide for us to receive this activation and quantum leap forward into the future with the most grace and ease. And hopefully without crisis. Okay. So, in between of the in-between, that's where we're at, this final quarter. What are we sealing up? What are we going to feel so relieved that we're leaving behind? What is the current challenge and the ally as we move through? And what is this Sagittarius season going to be all about? New moon coming up. What's a little seed that we can plant right now into our awareness about what is to come? Phew. I'm always relieved about leaving this behind. The balancing act, the Two of Pentacles. So balancing different projects, relationships, or both, even balancing how we distribute our energy between different places, amongst different places. So it's like we've been playing this balancing act where things haven't quite seemed to be in alignment, but we weren't quite ready to let go of one thing or another. We had to kind of push and push, kind of like we've been on thin ice, just like staying afloat, pushing, just barely getting by with this balancing act, because we know that sooner or later something's got to give and things have to fall more into alignment, which means sacrifice in one way or another. But it wasn't time up until now to make any of those decisions. We've just been going through the cycle. We're just now coming to an end and then a new beginning. So we've been doing this balancing act. It wasn't time to choose a very specific direction or to make that sacrifice. But we're ready to put down the balancing act now. We're ready to recollect our energies and redistribute them in a way that's less draining, less exhausting, in a way that just makes more sense and feels lighter. Thank goodness. Whew. Okay, current challenge is a 3. So we had a 2, now we have a 3. We had Pentacles, but now we have Wands. And before I get into this, I want to say another thing about that, what we're leaving behind, this 2 of Pentacles. While it is Pentacles, I've spoken about this before, we always have to consider the other elements, not just the element that's being drawn. So yes, the energy that's behind this may be manifesting into the material realm and appearing as this balancing act, but what's behind it? It's a balancing act in our minds. It hasn't been time to make the decision, and so our realities have been reflecting that, quite chaotic. But again, we've been juggling it, we've been doing what we have to do, otherwise it wouldn't exist as it is. Okay, we wouldn't, if we're juggling, we're meant to be, and that's what we've been doing. So obviously it was all for a reason. Okay, so our reality has been a reflection of that inner kind of juggling act of playing around with, which ball am I going to drop? And then, whatever I'm left with, I got to keep going with that. This is kind of what's been going on in the mind. That brings us to the 3, the current challenge, 3 of Wands. This is all about taking action. The ball is in your court, so what are you going to do with it? This is all about, we're at this place where, there are many options, many ways we can go. Many opportunities are now presenting themselves as I've so carefully just been juggling everything and considering everything, considering every path that I can go down, not making decisions yet, but feeling things out, juggling realities, kind of in between worlds. One foot in here, one foot there, one hand there. And now we're like, okay, it's time to make some decisions. Ultimately, we do have to consider all of the elements, like I was saying, not just the one that's pulled. But starting with the one pulled here, fire, we must consider that whatever actions we do take right now, as we finally begin to say yes to hopefully always the right, for one reason or another, opportunities, it's about considering that fire, those wands. It's about spirit, growth, always. So ultimately, like I said, any path is going to be right. Because everything each moment happens as it's meant to in divine order. Nothing can be outside of that. But we'll always feel the best when we remember our original intention, why we're even walking this path of existence, why we're even here in these bodies, in this life. we have to put that fire first, spirit first. I know I'll be okay no matter what path I take, but may I base my first step on what the spirit wants. So this being the challenge right now, the Three of Wands taking action and knowing the ball is in our court and kind of taking the first steps, this being the challenge, right away we can see how we can fill ourselves with this mantra that it's okay, because whatever path I choose, it'll be perfect. It's about each moment. It's about the journey. So that takes off a lot of the weight right away. That feels good right away. It takes off the pressure to be like, okay, no matter what, it's going to be all right. Of course. So then when we relieve some of that pressure, we can kind of call back in our power to then be more logical with our thought process of getting to that decision of what step we're going to take first. Okay, now I can relax. I realize that whatever I choose will be perfect and meant to be. Okay. Now, from this more balanced mindset and this more relaxed perspective, I'm going to consider my spiritual growth and my path and where I'm at and what I've learned. And in taking that into consideration, the first step will be revealed. Now, the ally, as we move through this, is the Seven of Pentacles. So another Pentacles. So this being the ally tells me that it's about patience, remembering that there will be a time for the harvest. And that literally is coming up. That's literally right around the corner, the time for the harvest. It's always right on the other side of our frustrations and our impatience. So if this is the ally as we move through this new stage of taking the first step, taking action, saying yes to new opportunities, the ally is patience, trust, and divine timing. Knowing that, for example, if you do say yes to a new opportunity, knowing that you're going to have to be patient to receive the fruits of that decision. This is only the first step. So that's something to factor into our challenge right now as we go through this challenge of making those right decisions and saying yes to which opportunities. It would be right for us to consider then what the whole path is going to look like, to remember that this is only the beginning and that whatever choice we do end up making, may we make that choice wholly, fully, so that we set ourselves up, we prepare ourselves for what is to come. Acknowledging that, yes, I recognize the road ahead. There will be challenges with whatever path I go down, but I'm not going to focus on those. I'm not going to look ahead and see the mountains and then not take the first step. You know? So it's about knowing that, yeah, challenges are inevitable, but so are the ups. So are the good times. It's all the same. So factoring that into our decision-making process of like, whatever I do choose, remember that there will be fruits of whatever path I choose, because hopefully whatever path I choose, I'm able to envision those fruits. Otherwise, why the hell am I even taking the step down that path? You got to be able to see your success. Otherwise, definitely don't step in a direction that you can't see your success. Even if there's some weird part of you that feels turned on by that path, if you look down that path in your mind's eye and you don't see a clear vision for what's ahead, something is missing. Something's not right. So if you can look ahead down each path and see, oh, this is most likely how this will go, this is most likely how this will go, with confidence, because you are the creator, you do know how it's going to go. If you can do that, if you can kind of project yourself into the future and kind of get like a summary in your mind's eye, like a summary of a vision of, if I choose this, this is how it will go. If I choose this, this is how it will go. That's a part of this card too, this challenge of being the one with the ball in your court and having to make the decisions. You have to be confident in where you're going. Again, you have to see your trajectory. You have to have a clear vision for the future. Otherwise, your efforts are futile. So first of all, you have to see it and you have to go full force. You have to be very confident in it. So if you can do that and you can see ahead, then you'll accept everything that is to come. It will get you in that right mindset. That's what we're needing to do right now, is get in that mindset of, it's really about the journey. It's not about the destination. This is such like a key truth, right? And we go through that lesson again and again, but I see this coming up collectively right now. I see it all around me. It is a theme right now. So it's important that we Remember that always. It's about the journey. It's about making the decisions that are going to support our soul's growth, our spirit, our spiritual growth, above all, and seeing how that reflects into all dimensions, including the material one. Knowing it's about the journey, knowing there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, begin again. It'll all be worth it. You just have to keep your eye on the prize. And again, we'll know what actions to take right now. Being the best leader for our own life, when we look down each of those paths, see how it will go, because we know, because we're the creator. We're the creator. We're the ones who, we have to set the tone. We have to have that vision and send it into the future. So you do know how it's going to look going down each way. At least you know the summary of it. Your heart knows. You can feel it. And you have the will. So even any doubt that could come in and say, oh, but it might not turn out that way, but there might be an unexpected detail, blah, 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 blah. But if your will says, your will either says, I can do this or I can't. So if the fears come up, if you really have that will, it will blast through any of those doubts and fears. It will be like, yeah, you're right. The will would say to that doubt, yeah, something could get in the way and happen, but I'm still going to go for my goal. I still have in me what I need to get through any challenge. So thank you for sharing fear. Thank you for sharing doubt. And now I'll be even more prepared if you come up. So there's really no excuse. Whatever path you're going to take the one that you feel determined to take, that you feel confident in taking, the one that you're ready to commit yourself to. The one that you know in your gut and in your heart and in your mind. Logically, I can get this, I can do this, I could have that, I could be that. That is the way. That's your spiritual feeling and knowing, your intuition saying, that one. That's the choice. That's the choice. If you get too into it and you get lost in the material entanglement of your mind, you might start to doubt and question and say, oh, but any of them can be right. And that's the cop-out. Yes, any of them can be right, but you sometimes need to make a decision. And what do you base that decision on in this paradoxical world? That passion of your spirit. Because it goes beyond logic. It goes beyond this world of duality. And only there can we find the truth. And even then we can lose it when we over-rationalize. So just as quick as you can find it, you can lose it. So the point is, there is a time to make a decision. We can't always sit on the fence. That's why we're here in this world, to progress. And so when we come to those, forks in the road and we need to decide which way to go, we can tell ourselves, yes, that either way will be fine. But it's about in this moment right now, as I call out to my reflection all around me to look for those signs as to which way to go. There will always be one or the other. There will always be one or the other if you just tune in. But the mind doesn't know. The one universal collective mind knows above any rationalizing that your mind can do. And believe me, it's a trick, because it's about the bigger picture, and we can begin to rationalize, and we may be right, but we may also not be, because there's details we can't see. And so we can sit there and struggle with this push-pull in our own minds of which way to go, or we can surrender to that feeling, that knowing that is beyond the understanding, that trusts in a bigger plan, much bigger than the details of our own lives or even just the circle of people around us. A plan beyond this world, this planet. Plan beyond the planet. So trust in the plan. You will know which way to go. If you tune into your spirit and your feeling, it will guide the way of which path to go down. And quite logically putting that, because a lot of people will say, well, how do I just tune into my spirit? How do I just feel my spirit? I can't just feel it. And the logical way to do that's very simple. You just close your eyes and stop thinking for a second. Breathe, first of all. Take a sip of water. And that's all. You don't need to do some fancy technique, okay? Just calm down. Just calm the F down. Relax, right? And then when you get to that space, consider the different options. First, narrow it down. You got to have options A, B, C, right? And then consider each of those and just play in your mind. Use your imagination, see yourself, and take the time, sink into it, because like a dream, you ultimately will go into that space more and more deeply as you allow it. And as you allow it, you'll start to see the details. It will just be painted for you. It's like your heart will just lead the way. And you just see it in your mind's eye and see each of these paths. And know that it's not just some far off fantasy as you're taking yourself on this journey of seeing where these will all go. You're seeing what you're seeing for a very specific reason. When you look at each of the paths, whatever comes up, like, oh, this might be how it goes. No, not might. That is how it's going to go. Those visions that come to you are for a reason. It's your subconscious speaking to you, telling you that you are going to manifest exactly what you're seeing. And the only thing that's going to get in the way is your own doubt, your lack of belief in yourself and your own creative powers and your own mind powers. So you really got to sit there and not trick yourself. Your mind is going to show you the truth if you allow it to. If you get out of your own way, the mind will take you on a visual journey down each of those roads, and it will show you what will happen if you want it to, if you really want it. And by the end of going down each of those roads, in your imagination, in your mind's eye, you will know which one felt the strongest. You will know which one you have the most will to do. You will know the one that you're the most confident in, and you will feel the one that you're most prepared for. Because your logic will say, oh, well, I'm definitely most prepared for this one. And your heart might agree, or it might disagree. And then you're going to have to consider, okay, well, it has to be fair. There has to be a marriage of the head and the heart. So the head might say, well, this one's super easy. You can do it. And the heart's going to say, yeah, but just because you can do it doesn't mean you feel it. And then the heart will take you to the other ones and be like, you can do these too. It might be a little more of a stretch, but doesn't that feel good? Well, know that in that feeling of goodness that you're experiencing, that's the extra power that you'll need to make it happen. So although that other one seems easy and you can do it, remember, you can do anything. Don't let that be the reason alone. Of course, you have to believe in your mind you can do it. So don't, set the goal for something that you don't really believe you can do. I wish you knew that you can do anything, because then I'd like to see what your goals are. I'm talking to myself. Quite literally. There's no one else here. There's only one. So I'm telling myself, know that you can do anything. And in the meantime, as you build that belief, test yourself. Push your goals ever higher, just a little bit each time. Test yourself, push your faith. That's how it grows. That's why we're really here. It's not even about the actual thing that you're pursuing. It's about the cultivation of the faith behind it all. It's about this process, the journey, right? Like we were just saying. So set your goals and make sure you're always pushing your boundaries just a little bit. Don't go for just the easy thing. Go for the thing that you believe you can do, while you're expanding your knowing of what you really can do, what you're really capable of. And also go for the thing that feels good. And an 8 of Pentacles. So we have the 7 of Pentacles, now we pulled the 8 of Pentacles. So we've got 3 Pentacle cards and a fire in the middle, a Wands. So we had the 7 as our ally, be patient. And then we have the 8 of Pentacles to come. And this is the card for the new moon. So this is the card for Sagittarius and the Archer. It looks like we're going to pull back that arrow and fly forward right into our craft. We're going to be settling into a project that's going to keep us busy, and it's going to give us an opportunity to really give our all. So a lot of people will find themselves in situations where they're finally doing the work that they're meant to be doing and it feels fulfilling. Or a lot of people will find themselves giving all of their energy to something that's not really worth it. So what are you going to give all of your energy to? How can you best prepare for this? And again, even if this was total bullshit, is it really hurtful to have this vision of the future? Of the new moon, new cycle to come being all about getting lost in our craft? No, that can be a very positive thing, just like each of the archetypal energy themes of these cards. Each one of them can be positive. It's all about what we do with it. So how can it be negative? Even, like I said, if this is bullshit, how can it be negative to do such a ritual where we close our eyes and envision the future, and it's seeing ourselves giving our blood, sweat, and tears, our energy, our fullest presence to something on this material plane? Shit, that feels good. That's why we're here, right? To find the thing that we want to pour our energy to. You don't want to be giving your energy all over the place. It's nice to have a goal and to direct all of your energies there, right? That's nice. So rather than constantly, as so many of us do, rather than falling into these situations where we give our all and then find it's not the thing and have to keep it moving, why don't we prepare ahead of time? Because that's always a part of life too. There are going to be times where the rug is pulled out from under us, right? That's the Tower card. That's also another major arcana theme. That's always going to happen. And there's always going to be situations where we give our all, and like the Eight of Cups says, our heart realizes it's not for the highest good of the one anymore, and so we have to move on. Those are inevitable themes in life. What I'm getting now is that we can prepare as best as possible so that we have our energy reserved for those times where it is inevitable. But if we know this is coming up, and we know this is also a theme where we have the potential to give our all to a situation that is going to pay off, that is going to be worth it, then why don't we just ask for that more? Rather than just leaving it up to the stars. We are those. Time to take accountability so we can kind of send energy into the future. We can prepare ourselves by envisioning this, by envisioning ourselves working on a craft that we love, working on a project that we love, giving our all to a project or something, a relationship or a vision on this material plane, making something very real of it, finally. So if we know this energy is to come, or we're going to be getting lost in this project, may we begin to envision it in a way that is joyful, pleasurable. May we take the reins and design what that's going to look like in our mind's eye. How could that be bad? How could anything be wrong with this? That sounds like fun. And really at any time, this seems to be the theme right now. I believe in these, I believe in these cards, and I believe in what I'm doing, or I wouldn't be doing it all this time, every week, for a long time. I believe in it. But even if you didn't and you thought this was a bunch of bullshit, could it really hurt at any point to do this exercise where we prepare ourselves for giving our all to a project that is going to be something that's going to pay off, something that's really beautiful, something that's very positive for this world on this material plane? No, there's nothing wrong with that. It can't be bad. It can only be good. So I'm just going to summarize it here, okay? Again, we have 3 Pentacles cards, and then we have some fire wands right in the middle. We've been doing this juggling act, balancing, kind of testing different things out, seeing what paths we can go down, not choosing anyone, but kind of feeling everything out. We're ready to put that behind us now. We're ready to stop this juggling act. We're ready to finally take action, take the first step, say yes to new opportunities. But we're making sure that whatever we say yes to right now, and whatever opportunities we step into, that we're stepping into ones that are going to be for our spiritual expansion. We remember, hold on, take a step back. Before I get into this, this new path or new project, I'm going to remember what this is all about. The journey, not the destination. And that right there sets the tone. Okay, it's about the journey. Okay, I can relax. Okay, whatever path I take is going to be fine. Okay, I can really relax now. I can get back into that playful space, that fun space where I know that, yes, the ball is in my court. And while I thought that was scary for a minute, I remembered who the fuck I was, and now I'm fine. And now I'm more than fine. Woo! Now I'm inspired. And now I'm going to allow that inspiration and that feeling to guide me to the choice that I'm meant to take beyond my rationalizing mind, behind my ego mind, behind any logical thinking I could do. That feeling just drove me onto the path and I didn't even realize it. And here I am now. That's what it's supposed to feel like. So if we just do the work in lightening our load and remembering that every path is going to take us where we're meant to go, and that it's about the journey, not the destination, we've already done the work. In that moment, then the fire of our spirit is activated and sets us in motion. Beyond our rationalizing, beyond what we could have chosen based on our ego's decisions. All we need to do in order to make that right decision is get back into our center, to light that flame of our spirit inside. And we do that by meeting these opportunities, seeing and acknowledging the fears that we may have around taking the first steps or saying yes to them, to any one of them. And then talking ourselves through that and saying, hey, anyone's going to be fine. Remember what this is all about. All of the paths are about you, your fire, your spirit. Oh yeah, ding! And again, your fire is lit in that moment, and fire is action. So it does it for you. Literally pushes you toward that which is in resonance with your spirit. And then, boom, you set off on that path. You know that it's only the beginning of this new path you chose. You are patient. You know that the harvest is going to come. You know that there were going to be challenges, whichever path you took. You know that. You accepted that. You're not going to waste time looking back now or regretting or this or that. You're going to remind yourself along the way of why you even chose that path. You're going to remind yourself, I know why I chose this. Any path will come with its challenges. They all have their cycles within that path. And this is the motivation that will keep me going until I reach the fruits of the harvest. And it looks like we're going to begin to receive the opportunities to start cultivating those fruits of that harvest immediately. It's like we're going to go into this Sagittarius season with a huge, just project and a huge ambition to give ourselves to something on this material plane. Something very real, something very physical. We're going to get to work. We're going to get to work with these new opportunities that our spirit says yes to. We're going to dive in and get lost in that work. So it's good to take a deep breath right now in this in-between stage as we move from Scorpio to Sagittarius. To take a deep breath like we're about to go underwater, right? Because we are, pretty much. I mean, when you consider the elements are all one. So that's where the real magic happens, when we stop seeing air as just air, but air also as water, or we stop seeing these pentacles just as pentacles, but also as the elements behind them. It's a cycle. And so we can see how, we are about to kind of go underwater, like this layer of energy that we're about to enter into. It's like a portal of energy, thoughts, concepts, ideas that are going to be all around this project that we're sinking into. It's going to pull us in, like material entanglement, okay? So it's like water. It's like we're diving into this water, this sea of consciousness, a portal that's going to pull us in and consume us. So may we prepare, may we take a deep breath right now and say, okay, I know that I'm about to dive in. I'm not going to get lost in this. I will allow it to consume me because I will remain the observer behind it all. I can allow myself to fully dive in and let go and surrender and be present in what I'm doing only when I can remain the observer. Because if I fully allow myself to just surrender and I don't remain that observer, then I may get lost in it. I may become attached in a way that is unhealthy, attached in a way that takes me off the path or distracts me from why I'm here. So I'm going to allow myself to dive fully into the work that I have to do here in this realm while remaining present, while remaining the observer. So I know what project I'm about to get lost in, and I'm allowing it because I'm choosing my path. And I'm going to allow my fire, the fire of my spirit, to choose my path. And that can never lead me wrong. So I'm going to be excited about that right now. And I'm going to allow that excitement to build into the manifestation of my future. So the excitement of my spirit is that energy is what's going to manifest. That frequency is what's going to manifest as the situation that I'm about to step into. And so I'm going to step into more of that and more of that. And it's going to feel good. And so of course I'm ready. And that readiness is what creates that future moment. So bring it on. I'm ready to get lost in it because I'm not really lost. I'm choosing this opportunity that's coming. And I'm saying ahead of time that I'm going to dive in fully and allow myself to give my all to this project that is on its way. Because that project is going to be a manifestation of the very important decision that I make right now. No pressure though. Very important decision, no pressure. Because Spirit is guiding you all the way. Us, guiding all of us. Spirit is guiding the one on the way, always. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. This video is going to be up on YouTube, so if you'd like to share it, you can go to youtube.com/RebeccaMagic and share it with your friends who may not be on Facebook. You can also share this link. I will see you guys next week. We do these videos 4 times a month. There are 4 activation readings every month using the tarot, and they're based on the cycles of the moon. So you can always look to the moon to know when they're going to happen. It's always on new moon, first quarter, full moon, and final quarter. although it does not have to do with the moon. The moon is used as a time measure, and I think you can understand that. If you're still watching this, I think you understand that. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. I'll see you next week for the new moon, Sagittarius. Enjoy as you close up Scorpio season and open up the season of the Archer. I see you drawing back your bow. I know where you and I are about to go together as one, and I'll meet you there next week. Shalom.